I live in the north of England, close to a seaside town called New Brighton. It's a short 5-minute drive, or if I'm feeling adventurous, it's a 15-minute cycle on my bike. So when I get the chance, I like to take the X100V on a little journey with me. There's always plenty of people around, and a great passion of mine is to photograph people as they go about their daily life. And the Fuji X100V is the perfect camera to do that. With the camera having such a small form factor, it's ideal to get in amongst the action, and the 23mm lens is the perfect focal length. Once I have my settings dialed in, it's simply a matter of being super observant, and I can be confident that the camera will perform every time I press the shutter release button. Now, street photography can be completely spontaneous, capturing those chance encounters, but it can also be a waiting game at one location. So sometimes I stay at an area that interests me and wait for the right subject matter to appear, and I can often capture a really interesting shot. I like to photograph unusual things you don't see every day, and of course my camera is always ready to capture those events. And that's one of the great joys of street photography, being able to see the unexpected and then capture it to create an unusual and interesting photograph. Once I begin to shoot, I kind of get into a rhythm and sometimes stay in the same location, as quite often another photo opportunity will appear. Of course, no seaside town would be complete without a fun fair, and a fun fair is an ideal location to shoot photographs. And just waiting for the right light and capturing the angles can produce something really interesting. Now, it's also a place where all walks of life and cultures come together to enjoy the fun. And the coming together of those different people and different cultures enjoying themselves can make for great street photographs. Now, around the many cafes, bars, restaurants is an ideal place to watch the world go by. People watching with my camera, poised to shoot the unusual. Now, there's a lot of street art in the area, and I like to use that as a backdrop in my photographs. Now, I do this type of thing with shop windows and large advertisement boards too. Anything where you can have your subject placed against that background generally works well. Now, if I stay in one area long enough, I begin to absorb the environment and become part of the surroundings. It really helps in capturing candid shots. Just simply people watching and being super observant, shots begin to reveal themselves as people go about their daily lives. I tend to stick to my trusty settings with an aperture size of f8 and a shutter speed between 250 and 500th of a second, and auto ISO. And of course I use the focus range limiter set at 2 meters to infinity, which does a great job of keeping everything in focus between those two limits. As I've mentioned, I love finding an interesting location or backdrop and waiting for the shot to appear, and just capturing people as they go about their daily life. For me, it's about creating that mini story, if you like, with an almost cinematic feel to it. Street shooting is a combination of that chance encounter and random moment, and of course planning and waiting. It's really rewarding sometimes to wait and let the subject come to you. But spending time at one location, I kind of become in tune with the environment, and I also begin to blend in, allowing me to try different angles to shoot from to create interesting candid shots. So I'm always ready with the camera to capture a shot. Even walking back to my car, I can still fire off some shots knowing the settings I've dialed in will always give me a perfect shot. This week I travelled into Liverpool town centre to meet some friends for lunch. Now I don't always take my camera with me, but I did on the specific day. And I knew I'd only have a very small window of opportunity to capture some shots. So I took the bus and off I went, quickly shooting anything that took my eye. Now it must have only been a brief 10-minute period, as I knew I was about to meet my friends. But that's the joy of using the X100V. It's always ready, small enough to carry around with you, and a joy to use. And I'm always super excited to get home and take a look at the results after a shoot. Now I just want to show you two shots I captured recently on a trip to York. Now, I'm showing you these particular shots as I want to stress the importance of an early morning shoot. Now I would say at this point I am absolutely hopeless at getting up early in the morning. Being an ex-musician, I tend to do most of my best work later in the day. But if you love that isolated look, then that is the time to shoot. This first shot would have been impossible to capture an hour later, as in the background we have York Minster Cathedral, and this area is generally full of tourists and people queuing to get into the cathedral. So that early morning start really does give you the chance to create that isolated look. Now this particular street would be normally full of tourists and shoppers, and I managed to capture this shot with the lone walker walking past the cathedral. So set your alarm clock, it's worth it, and I just wish I could do that a bit more often. So that's it then, that's a little sort of look at some of the shots I've captured recently with the X100V. Now I have had a number of comments from people letting me know that they're having difficulty getting hold of the camera, that it's in high demand. So I hope if you're one of those people that you get your camera really soon, because it is an absolute fantastic camera, to joy to use. Now you don't have to obviously shoot street photographs with it, it's capable of everything else, any type of photography really. And if you want to know more about street photography, I have a Skillshare class, and you can always pop across and watch that, and the links are in the description below. But most of all, thanks very much for watching, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next video.